Redditors who haven't been infected with COVID even once, good job. But how did you do it? I don't fucking know. Got no friends. I live in a small city in Norway. People like their personal space here. No idea. I've been exposed to it but somehow managed to test negative. Practically being a hermit. I kinda wonder if I got it at some point. But it was really mild so I never noticed. Mostly following the masks, hand washing, and social distancing stuff for the first 12-18 months. Then I still avoided big crowds of people more so because I prefer to avoid big crowds of people. Trying to avoid touching public surfaces. Edit to add I also got vaxxed and boosted as soon as I was eligible. I don't leave my house often, and when I do leave, it's rarely for very long. Almost never leave the house. That's really the only reason. But I also live in a smaller city and engaged in good hygiene during case spikes, wore masks, carried sanitizer, washed my hands when I returned to the house and before eating. I am a medic who has worked in COVID wards with COVID patients and never had it. My theory, who fucking knows? Mask, sanitizer, and having no friends. Step 1 be Australian. Step 2 work from home full-time. Step 3 World of Warcraft. Step 4 don't lick the shopping trolleys. I have no idea. I've masked when enforced and followed all restrictions. But was also among the first to take advantage of these restrictions being lifted. I haven't gotten any symptoms once. This entire time. Nothing. Nada. Absolutely no idea how. Edit also should add I went to work at a grocery store when the pandemic began early spring 2020 after losing my job. I was around people every day filling online grocery orders. Never got sick once. Mask, vaccine, OCD and health anxiety. I have no friends. That seemed to work out for me in the long run. Mask. Cleaned hands. Kept distance from people I didn't know. Got vaccinated. Basically what they told us to do. Introvert who rarely leaves the house and is also fully vaxxed and boosted. Avoiding crowds when things are too hot, vaccines, and luck. I traveled all through the pandemic around the US via airplanes and cars for my job. My GF even got it a few months back. From someone we went to dinner with. Who I hugged. She mostly stayed in our bedroom, but our house is small and she kept wanting to come to the kitchen to cook. I've had multiple antibody tests and they all say I have never had it. Hard to not think I'm unable to get it. Ps I miss traveling by air during peak COVID. No one in the airports or planes. It was glorious. A combination of still being cautious, still masking consistently. Still avoiding more dangerous situations like indoor dining, and luck I'm in a situation where I can largely control the risks I take. And the ones I have taken either intentionally or inadvertently haven't come back to bite me. No guarantees in life. But the more you can stack things in your favor, the better. I was always careful about wearing a mask. I have OCD and germ phobia, so I already was obsessive about hand washing. And I don't have friends, don't go to parties. And I generally prefer to stay 2 meters from people at all times. I lived in China. Wore a mask for a long time when I was out in public. In April of 2020 I made my own mask using a car cabin filter and a 3D printed housing for the material. It was pretty good. Fit snuggly. No outside air, made it in unfiltered. After that I got vaxxed up. Kept the mask on until April of 2022 when I was in public spaces. That was it. There will be plenty of people that had it but were asymptomatic. Others that never tested to confirm. And some that have tested but had a variant that did not show up in nasal swabs but would have in a throat swab. Physical distancing. Washing hands. Masking. Getting all my vaccinations without whinging and staying away from anti-vaxxers. And anybody who thinks their momentary inconvenience of wearing a mask is more important than someone else's life. I actually don't know, because my job requires me to be in very close physical contact with many people. But I've never had it. I did read this article a few months ago suggesting that some people may just have T cells that clear the virus so quickly a person never tests positive for it. Also, apparently a food allergy cuts the possibility of getting it in half. You really need to ask why a bunch of shut-in introverts never got an infection primarily spread through close social encounters? I have no idea. I mask always and I don't have many close friends, so it's easy to avoid large social gatherings. Other than that, not a clue. Masks. Good masks. Not bandanas or surgical masks. Vaccines. I don't socialize with unvaccinated people. I don't go to bars, restaurants, or concerts. All of the above plus luck. Got no friends. Didn't visit anyone. Was pregnant so took a lot of care. 99 of the credit goes to the N95 mask and the vaccine. Mask up. Avoid crowds. Eat outside whenever possible at restaurants. Get vaccinated. Get boosted. Wash, sanitize hands. Vaccine, mask, working from home, little social life. I honestly don't know. I wasn't even careful. Good blood? Diligence. My sisters had it and we live in the same house. My girlfriend had it and we hugged and kissed the day before she got tested, and even when she was in isolation I went to see her a good distance but couldn't handle it and just kissed her again and never caught it somehow. X200B. Long story short, I have no idea. Australia actually followed our lockdown procedures. It's not a military state like y'all think. I haven't been in lockdown since 2020. I've lived life 100 normally since. Never gotten sick. Crazy what happens when you just listen to the experts. Not sure how I did it, but I never got COVID. I also have been at work with the public the entire time of the pandemic. I'm German, so beer and sausages have built my immune system to withstand stuff. At least that's my best guess. Vaccinated, safety protocols at work, no friends, no partner, no hobbies other than gaming, hiking. No idea. Most of my friends and family got it. Guess I just got lucky. Remote work since all the shit kicked off. Refuse to enter a store or public transport without a mask on. Sanitize hands regularly. Vaccine and boosters. Those were pretty much the only active steps I took against it. Either that or I caught it and was just lucky enough to be asymptomatic. No idea at this point. I wash my hands first thing when I get home. Years of working in a laboratory. Vaccine, masks, not going out during the first waves. It's easier when you don't work. Real simple. I washed my hands when I was supposed to. Wore a mask when I was supposed to. Got vaccinated when I was allowed to and locked down when they said to. Essentially, I listened to the scientists. Honestly, I have no idea. I'm a teacher. Maybe I caught it before testing was widely available though. Who knows? By just living life normally, man. Shrugging. Let's just say that the lockdowns didn't really change my lifestyle. Follow the rules? Wear a mask, get vaccinated, wash my hands, no social gatherings. Wore a mask and trusted no one. I have extremely severe environmental allergies, so my airways are too constricted for COVID. COVID tests can be surprisingly inaccurate, so there's that. Just built different biceps. Reddit is going to hate this answer, but here it goes. I live in rural Montana. Aside from not going to see my grandma during the worst months, I didn't do a thing prevention-wise. Rarely wore a mask. Went out drinking in crowded bars during lockdown, traveled. And pretty much anything else irresponsible you can think of. It is a miracle I never got it, honestly. Lots of people around me got it at some point. I seem to have just dodged the bullet thus far. This makes me sad. Until last week, I hadn't ever had COVID. Got all my vaccinations and boosters. Was careful about masking. Contracted it on a plane for a business trip and I was completely masked. I've opted to isolate in my hotel room for the 10-day period the CDC recommends.